Another question that I would have would be about your experience. You know, you've recently moved jobs, and congratulations again. And you know, what I wanted to ask you was a couple of questions. I wouldn't be much of a recruiter if I didn't ask you about your your recruitment journey. So, you know, when you started your job search, before you looked out there into the market, and I feel that perhaps some candidates might be thinking, right, we're still in a pandemic. You know, we're coming out of it, thankfully,
Mm.
but we're still in a pandemic, needless to say. And that, right, that's going to have an impact on jobs out there. You know, maybe I should stay where I am and see how things change for me. And I suppose, is that something that you were thinking about before you started looking?
Yeah, there's always like there's a kind of always that, the two guys on either shoulder saying, kind of one is saying, stability is good, let's stay where you are and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
um, and a kind of um a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor, right? So
Another nautical related
yeah,
reference. I
yeah,
have to
yeah.
give it to you, Martin. You must be a sailor, are you?
I can't even swim. I can't even swim. But most sailors can't anyway. So that was
That's
the point.
true. That's true.
But I guess what I'm saying is that it's easy to kind of sit around and the inertia becomes much bigger then to get you to move. Um, and so there's the whole pandemic uncertainty. There's a lot of anxiety in social kind of terms about change and everything. Funnily enough, though, for my role and the roles I was looking for, now was quite a good time because the nature of my work and where I can do it and the kind of the work life balance at the moment, companies are changing a lot how they look at that. So, I most of the roles that I looked at and I saw were available. Are all remote first,
Yeah.
so and that's something that's a huge thing to me. I've a small, a 1 year old and another one on the way. So for me, the work life balance, I know this is kind of a side thing now, and this is probably the same for everyone. And I'm lucky to be in a position where I can avail of working from home. But I mean, I've really benefited um, personally at home from not commuting for 10 hours minimum a week, So, and a lot of the roles that I saw out there were actually kind of remote first. So that appealed to me. Um, but yeah, I guess from the personal side of things, there's never the right time. You can be waiting forever for the right time to move. And I just, there was a lot of opportunities out there that kind of excited me.
Mm, yeah,
So
absolutely. And you know, that's what we see a lot actually at the moment. Like we have never been busier. Recruitment in general has never been busier in years. There's not enough time in the day. I feel like those 10 hour 10 hours of the week that I've been saving with commuting into Merrion Square each day is now gone for trying to cover all the jobs that I'm working on at the moment, which is a great complaint in my line of work. Increasingly as well, you're spot on the
yes,
money there, Martin, that most of our clients, almost all of them, have adopted remote first and will continue to do so. I had a call yesterday with a relatively new client, very large consultancy on the
mm,
data side, and they said, well, the director of the business said, when the pandemic is done, people will still to continue to work from home as they have been. They've proven that it works. What's the point of changing something if it works? And he's dead
exactly.
right. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of companies will look at that, and companies, you know, at least for now, are only starting to look at those policies as we can we see a little light at the end of the tunnel, and the time frame around true opening and true going back to the office becomes clearer and clearer. Companies are starting to look at their policies, and it's
Yeah.
only when they sit down and they discuss them properly in a roundtable discussion with the stakeholders that they will be able to say, well, maybe we shouldn't change it, or give it as an option if people want to be in the office, because lots of people like to be working in the office, including myself. So Yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing and decision maker for candidates when they're looking for a role.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah. For me,
Great.
yeah.